Hey everybody, it's John Gabertatios. In today's episode, we did something different. Elise has a story that is personal to her and her community in the improv world that relates to racism. And it's really hard to kind of find the words to speak about these stories, especially when they're so personal. So while you're listening, understand that it's kind of hard to talk about for many reasons. And sit back, enjoy. That's it. I think that's. I said enjoy in that last part. If you want to enjoy, if you want to, you have a choice to enjoy or not. Okay, I just want to. If you are gonna enjoy, do it. If you're not gonna enjoy, that's cool. That's fine. Like that's your prerogative too. Just wanted to hit home.
Hello?
John, wake up.
What's up?
Are you ready for some fuck shit or no? Or no, not right now.
Yeah, I woke up ready for fuck shit. Yeah, let's go. Let's do it.
Another episode of the Elise and John Show. Woo, we got a hot one today, folks.
Well, like the notorious Christopher Wallace once said.
If you don't know, now you know, nigga.
And I got a story to tell.
Yes. Boom. On today's special episode, we have a new segment called What the Fuck Shit?
What the fuck shit?
All right. I'm listening. Tell us the story.
Okay, so I'm temporarily in Miami, Florida, but I live in Sarasota, Florida. And I've been doing improv there for, we'll call it maybe 4 years. And I've talked before about how it is primarily white cast. We do happen to have a very diverse cast, not so much in background and race and ethnicity, but more in age differences. We have a lot of women on the cast. I think maybe even more women than men. We have different political backgrounds, right?
Wow.
Yeah, we have a lot of diversity on the cast, just not necessarily race, ethnicity, culture, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that means that I am typically one of the very few, if not the only, people that is a BIPOC, one of the only BIPOC folk in the room, other than, of course, Will Luera, who is our director. We have a phenomenal, just improv. When things were up and running, we had a great improv life in terms of all of the things that we were able to do all day long, and there was just a lot of opportunity for performing and teaching there.
Love it.
Also, this lack of racial, ethnic, cultural diversity applies to the student base, right? Yeah. Just also, Sarasota is a primarily white town. There is quite a large Latino and Black community there, but in terms of the theater scene, it's not often there. We do have a really great theater called the West Coast Black Theater Troupe, and they are Yeah, they're amazing. They're really pretty phenomenal, and they put up some great productions. But outside of there, I don't get to interact a lot with BIPOC folk in the theater world.
Yeah.
So I have felt a lot of ways about just the way that I feel in the room often when it comes to rehearsal spaces and whatnot. And I didn't really have a lot of words for that. And I didn't really have a lot of understanding of exactly how I felt until 2020 comes around and we're all, we just happen to be doing the work we should have been fucking doing for a really long time.
Yeah.
Great. So cut to this week. And I'm on Facebook, which I don't usually peruse Facebook for shits and giggles. I go on it because of improv. That's the only reason I'm on Facebook, is because of the improv community. Mm-hmm. And I stumble upon one cast member's post.
Oh, let's go. Here we go. Shirt's coming off. It's getting hot.
John is literally unbuttoning his shirt.
Yeah, I turned the heat up too much. But
that was a mistake.
But I'm also fucking already activated.
So So there's one cast member. This is a white presenting woman who is half white, half Brazilian, and but she is 100% white presenting. Okay.
Yeah.
And she does on Facebook, I think weekly or something like that. She does impersonation shows, right, where she's impersonated different, I guess, media figures. She's done like Cher, and she's done a bunch of things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But the reason I stopped, I don't really
Here we
usually
go.
watch them because I'm not on here, and I don't really, honestly, it's not something that I do when I on the weekends where I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go on Facebook and just like peruse. But I stopped because I recognize that she's looking like she's impersonating Meghan Markle during the Oprah interview.
Okay.
So I'm like, bump the brakes.
Hold up.
Yep. And I press play, and indeed,
For those listening right now, if you don't know about or who Meghan Markle and the recent stuff with the royal family, pause this quick,
Google
do
it.
wiki search right now. But
Yeah.
know that it's very important to know that Meghan Markle is a black woman,
Mm-hmm.
biracial black woman.
Yep. So I stop, I watch, and the video is her impersonating Meghan Markle in a punch down kind of way.
Yeah.
For example, she would say like she was making it seem like Meghan Markle was trying to produce the interview to make it more to make it seem like she was more like it was more dramatic, you know, to kind of paint her story, produce it in a way that is manipulative almost. There was just a lot of patriarchy infused in it. There were moments where people were asking, oh yeah, so part of the show is that you know, she's impersonating the person, and then people in the comments get to ask questions, right, to the person that she's impersonating.
Yeah.
And there was racism, there was misogyny. It wasn't.
The comments were coming
Yep.
directly in response to.
And then she would respond to the questions, right? So like one of the questions were, who is the Gale to your Oprah? And she's
Asking Meghan Markle,
Yeah,
who's
asking
the Gale to your Oprah.
Yeah. And then she's like, well, I don't really understand how women can be friends because I see women as competition.
Yeah.
Things like this where
Yeah.
I'm like, that's not what we're trying to do. Are you a secret agent for the patriarchy? Like, show me your identification, bro.
Yeah. Yeah. That's very harmful and undermines the fuck out of Meghan Markle.
It was just harmful in general. It was making her look just two-dimensional. It was not even addressing all of the, like, in a positive light in any way, any of the issues that were actually discussed in the interview and the purpose for that interview. It was just infuriating. And then the one I stopped watching because I saw a comment that said, just how large is one of the questions, just how large is Oprah Winfrey?
Wow.
And I was
Wow.
like, all right, at this point, I already know what's going on here. I do not need to keep watching this. I'm getting upset. And again, I should clarify, I'm not someone who easily gets upset or, you know, like affected by fuck shit at this point as much, which I should be, right? Like this is the problem. It's like the normalization of this stuff, but I don't get like, I'm like, whatever, this lady's in, like when things like this happen, I'm like, this person's ignorant to what they're doing, and I'm not gonna, I don't have the time to be the person to argue with you, right? But this really just got me. Like I got really upset, and I was talking to one of my white friends, and I say to her, I'm just really like upset about this video that I saw today. And she's like, what video? She's also on the cast of FSD Improv. And she goes and she looks at it and she writes back to me. She's like, I already messaged her. I'm like, thank you.
Thank you, white person. Thank you.
Thank you, white woman.
Thank you, white woman.
And I told her, I was like, listen, I don't feel like I need to be messaging this woman right now. Like, I'm a BIPOC woman. I don't need to be dealing with this. This is not my job. Like, fuck this.
Yeah.
Then later on in the day, my friend.
I'm sorry. Before you get to this next segment,
Mm-hmm.
because it's going to move ahead. At this moment, is it okay if we give this person a name, like a fake name? I don't know. I'm thinking of...
Why do the work? It's already done for us. The name is going to be Karen.
Okay. All right. Well, cast it as Karen. Karen.
Yes, Karen.
Lovely. Thank
Um,
you.
so my friend writes a message to Karen and says, "Hey, look, I'm letting you know as a friend that this video is inappropriate. White women should never impersonate black women. We should not be making fun of a interview where this woman came out about racism and mental health and was specifically talking about suicide. Like, we just
Yeah.
can't do this."
Yeah.
And so the day passes. I'm thinking about it most of the day. And I'm like trying not to think about it most of the day because I'm like, this is robbery. Like, this is my time. Like, stop robbing my time from me. Right?
Right. Yeah.
And so my friend later texts me and she says she said that Karen wrote back to her saying, I think we can disagree on this. And please remember that, I'm half white, but half Brazilian.
Okay. Yeah. Any other things that we need to know? Like, I don't know, only you can prevent forest fires or some other kind of things. It's just like, what?
So
What?
once my friend tells me this, I hit a point of realization that I think is a very important thing to talk about, which is I had a moment where I realized I was making this about me.
Mm.
Where I was like, I'm mad, I'm BIPOC, I shouldn't have to do this. But no. I needed to step up for black women. This was not about me, right?
Yeah.
As much as I love the black community and I always want to support and be an ally, even though that word is, to me, I feel like pointless. Like, you're just supposed to be that, right?
Yeah.
But in that moment, I was like, no, this is not about me.
Right.
I was like, I do need to say something because I am somebody who's out here preaching all the time. Like, people need to speak up and be active about shit like this. If it's in front of you, you do it.
Yeah. And especially in relationship to speaking up and protecting and defending and hearing black women, especially black women. We don't have to ask black women for permission to go and defend and speak up on behalf of them. We don't have to wait for them to say, go for it, Elise.
Yeah. So I was like, no, Elise, like, no, this is not about you, right? Like, and then I was like, all right, I am gonna, in fact, because at that point, once I made that realization, then I got the energy. I was like, oh, I got plenty of time for this shit.
Let's go, yeah. Moving with a purpose. Karen, we coming.
So I just write to her, hey, Karen, please consider removing your impersonation of Meghan Markle. It is harmful to the black community and to BIPOC women at large. Period.
Pretty clear cut. Pretty simple. Seems.
And she writes back to me, hey, that's not what I intended. I will take what you're saying. I hope all is well.
No
that's where it
surprises
ended.
there.
Yeah, that's where it ended. So so then the video comes down.
Now the video has been removed.
Yes.
Her show, Karen's show.
Yes, Karen's show.
Sorry for hitting my drawer. I'm like
it's
fidgety because of the story.
Karen's show of Meghan Markle is removed. Let's pause for a second. I would like to talk about the period that John is giving us the timeout sign, just in case.
Time.
For everybody. I want to talk about the moment where she received the message from my friend.
Okay. Yep.
Why did it take me to message her again and her not say we're going to disagree on this for her to actually make some sort of action?
Right.
Is my first question.
Yeah.
And here's another thing I want to make clear in terms of sharing the story.
Yeah.
I'm not sharing this story about this woman who's, about Karen. I'm not talking about Karen. I'm talking about what Karen represents.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about if, let's take Karen and let's make her a prototype, which she is, right? Like, that's why we're calling her Karen. Let's say Karen's around the world, right? I need to understand, what is it that made the first message that came through from another white woman less valuable than my message that came through?
Yeah. Yeah. It's a very simple question. You
And
know?
the next question is, do you disagree with me and you're just not telling me because I am BIPOC and you don't want to
Yeah.
look racist? Like,
Because the evidence would suggest that
right.
is the case. There's absolutely nothing else to kind of.
What's the difference between my friend messaging you and telling you this is harmful and me telling you this is harmful?
Right.
These are the things that I want to understand. And I would
Mhm.
like for white people to pay attention to, right? In those moments. It was a knee jerk, I disagree with the first one. And then with me, it's like, I'll take the note.
Right. Right.
So my friend didn't use the exact language that I used, right? I said specifically this is harmful. But when my friend brought this up, like, instead of saying, hey, we're going to disagree on this, why not say, can we talk about this so that I could get a better understanding about where you're coming from?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because
Yeah.
the perspective is, I'll give a perfect example. Recently, and John and I have talked before about how John has make improv more black. There's a Facebook group that John created called Make Improv More Black. Talk about that group a little bit and the purpose of it.
I just was tired of improv not having black people, and I was tired of improv. But it was like, oh, maybe we just said it. It was just like a mission statement. Like, I just was in the theater, and I was like, oh, why don't we just make a post? Like everything I do, it's like I had this emotional, visceral reaction to something, say it out loud, and then I go, fuck it, type something on social media, and then boom, bing. I was going to make it a Facebook group anyway, but sometimes you just kind of throw a thing up, and if people ask for you to do that, then you go, okay, then that's a pretty worthwhile idea.
So it's a place for black improvisers to come together and just talk about whatever, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yep.
Perfect. So John
it's a lot of fun in there. A lot of fun.
I'm
if you're
sure
white,
of it.
You're missing out. If you're not black, sorry.
Yeah. I'm sure of it.
It is a great time.
So John and I have talked previously about how the Latinx representation in improv is scarce, right?
Yeah.
So we talked about, hey, maybe I should make like a sister group or something like that for Make Improv More Latinx, Latino, or whatever name we have come to agree upon in terms of what represents the Latin community. And the first thing I said to myself was, I need to make sure that me making a group like this doesn't feel like me saying Hispanic lives matter. And that's exactly what I told John. Like, I am not trying to at all pull focus and make this about us.
Right.
I am trying to instead say, hey, we support you, and we're going to start making this about representation as well. Yeah. So what did I do, people? Right. I called John and I said, John, can you ask how they would feel if
the black members of the Black Make Improv More Black Facebook group.
Exactly. How would they feel if a sister group, right? We'll call it sister group for now because that was my intention, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So, but intention is different than impact. So my intention was, I want to make a sister group so that it's in support of you and we support each other. Fantastic. In support of you, Black improvisers, and in support of Latino improvisers. So John and I talked about it. John put a message in there. And specifically, we said, if one person, just one, feels harm or feels uneasy about this, we will change the name. We will make it completely different.
Yeah.
What are your opinions?
Yeah. Like, it's as easy as, just like, it's a standard. You go to the group, you say, hey, community of a certain community, in this case, Black improv community, what do y'all feel about XYZ? Yeah. And then listen and apply that. It's so easy. It's like, you do that when you host catering. You go, hey, does anyone have any allergies to food? Because I don't want to harm you or kill you. I have intentions to feed you. I'm going to feed you good.
Yeah, I want you to eat good. I want you to enjoy the shrimp. However, if you can't eat the shrimp, then I will get you a lobster, whatever.
Yeah, or maybe
not a shelled item.
Yeah. If it isn't lobster and you're still there, alive and kicking.
Yeah. So
Not really.
ultimately, so what came from that, right, was
Right.
that there was enough conversation and enough kind of like, let's think about this for us to be like, let's just completely change the fucking name. Like it does not have to be the same thing,
No.
right?
No.
Um
No.
and
No.
that I
That's you say that to illustrate a very simple principle that
yes.
you live by, I live by.
Mhm.
Most BIPOC live by, right? You listen to the community in which you're collaborating with or
Yeah.
working with or
Yeah.
addressing.
Yes.
You just listen to it.
So here's all of that is to say,
Hmm.
if you have been notified once that what you're doing might be harmful, why not take a moment immediately, just like you would do in a relationship with your partner, right? If your partner comes up to you and say, "Hey, you hurt my feelings," I'm not gonna be like, "What the fuck?"
Right. Yeah.
I'm gonna be
Yeah.
like, "Wait a minute, I don't want to hurt your feelings. What did I
Uh-huh.
do? Please, like, tell me so that I don't do this again. Let's have a
Yeah.
conversation."
Yeah.
It's not, but I really want it to be this in this moment, right?
Right.
So you're getting in the way of that.
Yeah.
So that's my first pause in this story. Like, what
Mm.
made her not take down that video the first time, or not even consider it? At least stop for a second and pause,
Yeah.
and either have a conversation or ask for clarity or whatever. This
Yeah.
is between two white women, so by all means, do the work.
Yeah. Please.
So the video comes down after I messaged her, but then the next day the video comes back up.
The next day, it goes back up.
It goes back up.
And it's still all there. It's not edited. It doesn't seem to be edited, or even
I
Meghan
didn't go. I
Markle
didn't go
is
through
there.
it to know if it was edited or not, but it definitely
Well,
went back up with all its comments. So here's the last piece of this. Oh, now I'll just say this a little bit. I'll say another small storyline, and then we'll go into the discussion of what this has made me think of. But that video came back up. Then later on, at some point, the video came back down. So we don't know what happened in that point. But then later on, the video came back up.
wow.
And now the video
Wow.
is down again.
No, what the fuck?
So that's three times that she took it down.
3 times.
I don't know if this is a Facebook and yes, people, I did go onto her page a couple of times to check if it was still there. That's how I knew that it was coming back down and up. I went
Yeah.
on because I wanted to know how this was, like, what was going to happen.
Yeah. What anybody would do.
Yes. And if you claim that you're not doing things like this, bullshit.
Sad for you. You should be getting research done.
Yes, exactly. So 3 total times it went up and down. Great.
Wow.
I don't know if this is a Facebook algorithm that didn't let me maybe see it.
No, doesn't even matter.
Yeah.
3 is crazy. 3?
If
wild.
that's the case, if she did take the video down thrice, okay?
Yeah.
Then I don't know what the fuck this is all about. The point is, she
Yeah.
put it back up after the second time. After she took it down after I talked to her. Whatever.
Yes. Yes.
So
that's wild.
here's my question for all of this. And this is what inspired me to be like, John, we need a podcast episode.
Yeah.
This was on her personal Facebook page. I just want everybody to know that John is down for business right now. He literally just licked the tip of his pen and he's writing notes.
I got some things I don't want to forget to get to. I got something. Yeah.
So, actually, you know
I'm
what?
not
Now that
playing
you're
around.
saying that, before I get into a conversation, why don't you give me a reflection so far about what's happened for you?
Okay, all right. Wonderful. Main takeaways so far were you really just want to step up and say, hey, we need to protect Black women at all costs. And this is what really this is all about. And their reaction is what made you feel like, this is bigger than just her, really. It's a bigger issue.
It's way bigger than her, and it is. There are so many pieces to this. Like all of the things that it made me think of are things that I think are going to be so relevant to us when the pandemic is over, because this woman is the epitome of how it's going to be the reason it's going to be difficult to truly be anti-racist and to truly be feminist and protect women and Black women and BIPOC women is white, soft-spoken, reasonable sounding women.
Boom.
And this woman is
Boom.
white, soft spoken. She's nice.
Nice.
She's not she's not polarizing, right?
Mm-hmm.
She's not breaking into the Capitol and rioting.
Right. She's mild manner.
Because that's easy. That's easy to fight back, right?
Yeah.
We
Yeah,
got a
it's
bunch
clear
of
as day.
Trump supporters even that were like, "Oh no, we can't riot in the Capitol," right?
Right.
However, what are we gonna do about the soft-spoken, reasonable, kind of like
Progressive, maybe even
yeah,
sometimes.
who knows?
Oof.
I don't know what her political affiliation is, but
But
a woman who has some sort of she says she's half Brazilian. Great.
mhm.
I mixed cultures, fantastic. Come on in. We're here to
Yes.
celebrate that. However, I
Yeah.
will say that she is half Brazilian. She's 100% white presenting.
Yeah.
A BIPOC woman who screams from the rooftops that I'm
Yeah.
Cuban, who will
Yeah.
do anything I possibly can to have representation and to empower people and to make sure that I'm doing my work. I'm not allowed to do that video either.
No, it's
Period.
blackface.
Yeah, it's basically blackface, which makes me say, if Meghan Markle was darker, would you
Mm-hmm.
have done this video? And what does that mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. But yes, we're raising these questions because you're right. That's a great point. It is dangerous to allow folks who are mild mannered, seem progressive,
Mm-hmm.
to it isn't just that an event happened or a mistake happened or they fucked up, because that's gonna happen. It's
And that's
the
fine.
way we respond to their
Yes.
mistake is dangerous. It's
Yes.
dangerous. This
Yes.
is what's holding a lot of stuff back. And people are not saying,
Mhm.
"Hey, Karens, stop answering or making decisions for community X. Like, let them lead and do what
Yeah.
they need to do." Or, "Hey, Karen, stop appropriating." And then when we say stop doing that, just stop though. Like, don't
Yeah.
do the back and forth. Like,
Mhm.
actually stop. Yeah.
And again, like it's important what you were saying just now is so important, because I'm like, I don't expect white people to be woke just naturally, because they have been groomed their entire
Yeah.
life for centuries and decades
Yes.
and freaking lives
Yes.
to not understand this shit, for this shit to all be foreign to them. I get
Yeah.
that. I get that. However,
Yeah.
if you and you know what, I'll even put it on me. I am a Cuban American that grew up in Miami. There is so much racism and homophobia in a big chunk of the Cuban American community, especially in Miami. Do you think that was not ingrained in me as a child? Okay, but there's something called growth and understanding and keeping your eyes open and empathy. And the moment that something presents itself that tells you, hey, what you're thinking you're doing is harmful or might be wrong, you gotta stop and be like, wait a minute.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know everything on this fucking planet.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. That's right.
So that is what happened with that. It is currently down the last time I checked.
I also want to let people know that this is hard to talk about because there's people in this store we can't name. And there's other factors to this that you all are not getting. So this is the distilled version of what it is like when people do call out harm and wrong.
Yep.
And this is the response. So there's so much more to this that we can't say, but yeah.
And
yep.
and speaking of that, John asked me before we did this podcast today, do you want to name Karen? And I said no. And he said, why? And frankly, I have reasons, but I don't have very clear reasons other than I'm fucking protecting white fragility. Right?
Yeah.
Like, I know
Yeah.
I can't really articulate exactly what it is that's making me uncomfortable, but
Yeah.
definitely, like, even thinking about right now potentially saying her name, my heart starts to pound.
Yeah.
And I'm a badass bitch, folks. I will fucking I'm hard. I'm hard, all right? I'm fucking cool. I'm dope.
Yeah.
I grew up in Miami, like,
Yeah.
and something about this makes me fearful.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Sarah Ahmed, who I love to quote all the time, Sarah Ahmed, scholar, academic, has a blog, and one of the many pieces is this essay that talks about the problem of perception. The one who perceives the problem now becomes the problem.
Yeah,
And
for sure. Yeah.
This is a scenario in which Elise could just say, all right, well, I'm going to name names, you know? And now once that happens, culture just automatically says, wow, come on.
Did you have to do that? Like now she's going to be looked at as a racist and all. I mean, and honestly,
she's half Brazilian, Elise.
Yeah.
Wow.
And honestly, the people that are in my community are going to know exactly what I'm talking about. But
with culture, like
yes, exactly.
As it stands worldwide, and especially with capitalism and the sort of like weird complex that we have to authority, where we fucking just accept wrong information, and also we don't want to address wrong information because of this. This exactly, and this only does the most dangerous thing, which we're all afraid of and we don't want, which is that it perpetuates white supremacy. It perpetuates white supremacy. It actually gives it a little boost, a little turbo boost. It might even give it the star power in Mario Kart. Honestly.
Oh my gosh, I was just thinking Mario Kart, group mind.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, white supremacy.
Oh, right? Like you hit Yoshi with white supremacy. Oh!
Yeah. And meanwhile, everybody's throwing everything at the star power, like nothing. Because everybody takes all of the shift in the focus from the situation to the person, in this case, Elise. That's what happens in our brain. And it's true. We see it play out. And we need to, that's what I felt like the heart of this is.
And I don't even know, like, part of me, like, that, I don't know if it's right or if it's part of the condition of the effects of white supremacy, but like part of me is like, again, like what I just described earlier, like she's not somebody who goes online and says I hate BIPOC, right?
Right.
She's a nice person. I've had conversations with her, basic conversations with her, and so I'm like, that's why I said in the beginning of this conversation, like I am not out here talking about this specific Karen. I'm out here talking about this this small little event, right, have made me think of and threw me into the freaking depths of all this shit.
Yeah. But I mean, and just that's what this does. It raises the question. When a Karen does that, the community then is faced with the question. Well, not only do you want to call it out, but do you want to continue in white fragility being a legitimate thing that we're going to honor, right? Like we're going to honor white fragility. We're going to let it happen. We understand it's there. We're going to prepare for it. And the question we need to ask is, do we though? We can acknowledge it. But now, when people start to prepare, like, how am I going to convince this white person to not lynch a black person? Like, wow, do we have to think about how to...
And we're also thinking about the consequences, right? Like I am the one that feels charged with, well, what's gonna happen if I call out a castmate on my podcast? Right? And then and this is and I'm the one that's dealing with those consequences because people are gonna be like, oh gosh, now we got to deal with this, right? But also, like, another reason why I wanted to talk about it on the show is because this happened on her personal Facebook page. You can write what the hell you want to write on your Facebook page, right?
Yeah.
However, we now have to go into, when the pandemic's over, we're all going to be back in a rehearsal space, and I might end up in a fucking scene with her where we're two dogs or two fleas sitting on a dog's head, and now I got to talk to her about I don't know what the fuck, you know?
Yeah.
So this happens on her personal Facebook page. So we, improv community, you know, this is a rhetorical question. Like, what do we do now where we have these situations, especially after the last year, where we're all going to come back into a space? And this did not happen in the rehearsal room.
Right.
However, did a bunch of other white improvisers in my community like this video and comment about how amazing it was? Oh, yes.
So that now we're feeling how her one choice can have collateral damage beyond even what we can tell fully. You can't even see all of the other. Absolutely. And again, it is about protecting black women. This is now the after effects of this. Like, when addressing it, now we've got collateral. I don't even know if that's the definition of collateral, but I'm very proud of myself for taking a risk. So,
The only reason I
Yeah,
have an intimate understanding of collateral is because of law school. Otherwise, I would have no idea what collateral.
that's right. Come collateral.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Silicon. I'm trying not to do bits because I want to maintain the, all the theory around it, and I want to also be mindful that I'm not trying to present the case to justify
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
anything that we have done, that you have done. BIPOC, anybody who's called out someone for being wrong. I want to be mindful that this is everybody. Everybody goes through the same sort of process. Damn,
Mm-hmm.
do I call them out? It is hard. What are my risks? What about, my relationships with certain people? All of these things come into legitimate question. And it sucks because none of them matter. None of them matter relative to the bigger issue at hand. The bigger issue, which is, why would someone feel it is okay, 2021,
Yeah.
to put to blackface, especially a black woman? And why would a community think that that's okay as well?
Think it's funny. It's so funny. Oh my god,
Right.
it's hilarious.
Yeah.
And it makes me think of also like in 2020, especially when we really started to have that resurgence of social justice, and the murder of George Floyd made everybody be like, oh shit, we why have we put aside racism? And people started losing their jobs because of things that they had posted online, right? Celebrities lost, gigs, or lost ads, or kind of sponsorships. People within companies, presidents, a bunch of CEOs, things like this started to happen because of things that did not happen in the workplace,
Yep.
but happen on the internet.
Mm-hmm.
So if we're now talking about the improv room, right, which again, and I was in
The improv room. That's going to be our rumor and gossip page.
the improv room. It's not the shade room, it's the improv room.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be cool.
Now that this has happened outside of the improv room, what are we going to do when we get back inside of the improv room? And you mentioned also that you said it's all about protecting Black women, but what if there aren't any Black women in the room when I'm back in my improv room? So are they going to be like, well, we don't need to address this right now?
That is a legit question you have. Yeah. Yes, because they have the power to say that historically, and
yeah,
it would make sense. But
so,
and I know,
yeah,
it's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
Ridiculous.
That's it. That's the story. That's what I wanted to say today.
Wow.
And I would like everybody to know, I know I always talk about how scary this podcast is for me in general, but I'm still sitting here. My heart is pumping telling the story, knowing that it's going to go out. Everybody's going to hear it. I might get some messages. Who was it? Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that that's just sad. That's just sad. What world are we living in where you can't even speak out against that thing because you feel like that person's fragility is worth more?
Mm-hmm.
If
and the status quo is worth more also, right? Because people, and again, like, this is me doing this within the improv community is small potatoes. Okay, what about the big potatoes in the world when it comes to workspaces and actual people's livelihoods, right? Like, even though yes, improv is part of my livelihood, but like,
no, the risks aren't the same.
Yeah.
Because corporate America is corporate America, and we don't have legal shit around improv.
Yeah.
Like, people could just get fired from a improv team, and they couldn't turn around and sue. People
right. Right. Exactly.
So it's a little different in that regard, but there's make no mistake about it. We're not foolish in thinking that even though it's a small scale, it is just as important. We know that the whole strategy is to make things local. So you take your ideas of wanting this world to be better, you have to make it extremely local to your world. Yeah. You have to. It's just, and that's what this is. And
it's so important for us to, even, let's say it is like in this low stakes kind of environment where it's just, we'll call it just improv. if I can't do this in a small space, like in a low stakes space, how the fuck am I gonna go out and actually make change in the world?
Yes. That is, yeah, we can't figure it out here. Well, yeah, good luck.
Mm-hmm.
And that is it. Yeah, if this is not the community that can be an example of how a community can work through stuff, I don't know another one that can. I really don't. Really don't. And it's sad because the hesitation is not the hesitation I want to speak out against and name a Karen and all that is met with legitimate concern because in cases where people do speak out, they get killed. They get
exactly
things happen. So our hesitation is not out of some weird, like random,
Sure.
irrational fear.
Sure.
It is real. It is real. Wow. Yeah, it's scary. And it's hard. It's hard to process. And there isn't space for BIPOC folks to carry this every day. Like there isn't. We just don't have the bandwidth.
Yeah.
So if anything, I love it because as we're like unraveling things in our community that are like always projects to work on in terms of making it a community that feels
a safe community, right?
Yeah, this is it. We had to at some point address one of the many elephants, and this elephant is white fragility, and it's all, and also progressive whiteness and how that can be harmful. And we're not gonna. We might move tiny steps, but we're not gonna move levels if we don't have people feeling confident or having the agency to want to have brave conversations. We have a culture right now where those brave conversations are no, thank you.
And I have some white friends who have told me, I really want to find the language to be able to speak up in these moments. I'm like, no, you try.
Yeah.
Just try. We'll fix it as you go. But you got to make a move, even if you don't know how to do it. Yeah. That's like me saying, I don't know how to walk, so I'm not going to take the first step.
Right. Right.
You know what I mean?
And in addition to all of it, the majority of y'all white folks have been posting and resharing a lot of fucking social justice, memes and things since June. I would think at some point we need to put these things into practice.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It just kind of, now's the time, y'all. Now's the time. When? Now. Get it. My heart goes out to it's just sad because a lot of BIPOC folks spend their life. BIPOC people, they find themselves in a space in their lifetime constantly having to navigate between what is good for them, what's good for their community racially versus what's going to protect them and protect their community.
There's always a negotiation going on. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And at a certain point, we can't do that. And I think this is it. And Enough is enough. People been tired. And the minute Sarasota gets even more diverse, like the population of Sarasota, it's going to be even more of a problem because there's so many more Karens. It's going to happen. Sarasota's going to become more diverse. Same with all of America. Look at the statistics. It's not going to be long.
Yeah.
So buckle up. But I can't go back. I can't go back to the old way. I don't want to.
Yeah, which makes me look forward to the moment where we all are back in the improv room. Because we can't go back to the old way, and now we'll see. We'll see what's up. But I'll tell you what, suckers. You keep fucking around, become a podcast episode.
Yeah, you heard it here first.
I really like what you said about that you were having a conversation with Jill. You told me you were having a conversation with Jill about, yes, this is like, you can do this on your Facebook page, but you're part of community. Like, you're part of a community.
Oh, yeah. We were talking about, like, when Jill started doing improv, a lot of people who did it years ago when you got into it, and most of them did the training with the idea of this is an art and you're perfecting your art and your skill in your craft. 100% makes sense. And it's just, we also need to acknowledge that while though it is art, it does require working with other people.
Yeah, for
More
sure.
often than not, you have to work with other people in this art form, and that needs to be addressed. So guess what? It's 2021, and if we need to acknowledge that this art works with people, well, we gotta also acknowledge that there's a lot of history.
I mean, the whole point of doing improv is to work with other people.
Yeah, to play, have fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. It's that simple.
So we have to take care of each other in community.
Yes, that's it. And so as we do try to fight against a lot of these oppressive systems and structures that are, because that's what the big fight is. This is about a culture shift. This is a mindset shift. This needs to change. In the way that we change the improv culture around boundaries and, discussions before doing shows about like what you're comfortable, what you're not comfortable doing.
Mm-hmm.
That shouldn't be weird or scary to talk about, but like, do me a favor. If you're an improv teacher right now, go ahead and just have a boundaries discussion before your next class. And if you are feeling calm and confident the whole time you're having it, then fuck you. Fuck you. This
is not a comfy conversation.
It is hard. It's hard, but even though things are hard and scary, we still do them. And I think it's important that we talk about that right now because we're shedding a light on something that, for whatever reason, doesn't get talked about often. And I want to credit MN Fairplay, Minnesota Fairplay.org. That's where the timeout came from.
Yes.
Just want to shut them
Good. So I'm glad you brought that up because this, like, talking about this makes me say, and also the last couple of days have made me wonder, like, okay, what do I do? Like, we're using timeouts, but like, then what? Right. So it's like, let's say that this Meghan Markle impersonation happened in the improv room. Right. And I call it
the improv room. The improv room, not the Facebook group. That's not like the shade room.
Right.
Yes. Gotcha.
So in the improv room, like now we're all in person. Cut to hopefully in a few months, we're all in person, vaccinated, healthy. And a Meghan Markle impersonation happens there.
Yeah.
And I call, hey, timeout. I feel like this is harmful. Yeah. And then Karen says, but this is comedy. Like we're supposed to be able to touch on the things that are happening right now.
Yeah.
What will you do, teacher, leader, in that moment to be anti-racist and take care of the people that are being harmed? Like that's really, that's the language that I think we as an improv community specifically need to start getting down. Yeah. We're all talking about doing timeouts, but what happens? What's step 4?
Right.
Not just step 1.
Right. Yeah. That's an important question. And I hope we get to that place where step 4 is not that hard. But right now it is hard. It is very hard.
Where step 4 is just the bare minimum. It's not just the bare minimum. It's the regular order of business.
Yes.
And nobody has to be like, oh my gosh, thank you so much for doing that.
Yeah.
Where it's just like, yeah, do you pay people their paychecks? Cool. Great. That's kind of just the regular order of business. Do you pay your light bill? Yep. That's the regular order of business. Do you replace the toilet paper in the bathroom for people to go use? Yep. That's the regular order of business.
Yeah.
Are you anti-racist? Yep. That's the order of business.
Yep. Because right now we are entertaining the counter argument when white people say, "Ooh, but we're entertaining that. We're allowing that." That's why would you ever allow, if you have a child right now, let's say you're a parent and anybody, don't matter, anybody smacks your child.
Yep. There's no conversation.
They tell you it's an accident. I didn't mean, but your kid is like, bust. Don't matter. Right? Like the person who hit your kid should say, I'm sorry. I know it wasn't my intention, but man, let me help out. How can I?
But that's exactly why I wanted to make my message very short to her. And that was, consider taking this down. This is harmful. Period.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is not a conversation about comedy. This is not a conversation about, maybe we should just do different kind of comedy. This is not a conversation about anything else but what it actually is.
Mm. Yep. 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 Don't be no podcast episode. You ain't coming back from that. That is not the press you want. All press is good press. Until you fuck around and become an episode on the Elise and John show. That is not good press. You don't want that smoke. It is, I guess, what am I feeling? I'm feeling that, like, what are we doing now? This is ridiculous. It's sad. You have people falsely incarcerated. You have people, it's just crazy. What a world. And we've been shouting it forever. We're still shouting it. And it's just, no, we're going to keep on shouting, though. We're not going to stop.
Because what exactly are people holding on to? Like, when this woman's trying to, like, put this video back up 800 times, what are you holding on to?
Whiteness.
You're holding on to the 20 comments that you have or the 200 views?
She's holding on to whiteness. She's holding on to power, that whiteness and white privilege, and historically what that has provided. Yeah. Historically. And I think this is another great point. We don't have an accurate picture of American history. If we did, we would know about how white people have benefited just for being white in profound ways. Yeah. She's hanging on to the benefits that come with whiteness. And her flexing, like, posting it is a well, I'll say this. It translates to me, you're not going to tell me what I can and cannot do. Right? I'm white. I can do this. You're not going to, you don't control me. It's very capital storming. And it's very, like, anti-mask wearing vibe. It's this thing in their brain where they're like, I need to protect whiteness, and I also need to let you know that you can't tell me what to do. That's my analysis of everything, by the way. I don't have any facts to back any of this stuff up. But
yeah, but you know what? People need to hear that at the perspective. Like, you are completely objective to this.
The story. Hello? Johnny trying to do some more fuck shit.
Hold on. Estoy recording mi podcast. Estoy haciendo mi podcast. ¿Tú necesitas algo? Podcast. Okay. I have no idea what he was talking about.
Y'all both didn't know what each other was.
He goes, Hachkai? What? I think it's good that you're saying this, though, because you're objective. You're not gonna be, even though I'm trying my darndest to not be careful in the way that I'm saying this story. You're not gonna be careful because you're objective to it, right? This has nothing to do with, like, this is not your community. This is not gonna affect you, right? So it's important to hear how you see it. Because that's what people need to understand and hear.
Yeah, you're right. I hate it because there's also that feeling of, like, damn it, these little thorns in me that stay when these things happen. It's sad because it's like, how much time have we wasted? Not wasted, but how much time also of our life
my finite amount of energy in the last couple of days thinking about, like, man, why can't you just fucking listen to people? Take down the fucking video. What do you gain from this? Yeah.
And it's hard. I don't care who you are. I don't care what. You're human. Like, you're going to be affected by this, whether you're Meghan Markle or whatever. Like, not. Like, it's fucked up. It's the reason, it'll make a motherfucker move to Africa. Dave Chappelle. It's real.
And you know what? And again, like, this, if we're really looking at this specifically, this was not about me. And I was upset about it.
Yeah.
Because if we're out here saying that we're going to fix things, and we're out here saying we're anti-racist, and we're out here putting black images on Instagram and on Blackout Tuesday or whatever, right? Yeah. Like, you should be upset over shit like this.
Yeah. If you have black friends, you should be upset.
Yeah.
Do you have
And
black
if you
friends in your
don't
life,
have
y'all?
black friends, you should be upset.
You should, because this should not be foreign to you. That should not
Yeah.
be. That should
It's
be
just a matter of
very-
equity and inclusion. And if you put it on your LinkedIn,
If you put what on?
if
your
you put
LinkedIn?
diversity and inclusion on your LinkedIn, like you're part of the initiative at work.
Oh no, that is what people are doing, aren't they?
Yep.
That's so crazy. When I started the DNI position at Huge, I didn't even know that was a position. Like some friends of mine were doing it at Philly Theater, and I was like, "That's cool." And then another friend, Marina, she's in San Diego, Marina Mastros, and I was like, "Cool." And then I started doing that at Huge, and then all of a sudden, the whole world was like, "Do you know you can get a degree, like a DeVry, or I don't know, one of these, no Brown or whatever." It's a giant range. I just said DeVry or Brown, but you can get a degree in diversity and inclusion. Great. Wow. Yeah, LinkedIn. They really have gobbled it up. They made it about protecting the company and not the people. They really did that. Anyways, no surprises there. It's just more to illustrate the gigantic fire we're trying to put out.
Yep. So what do you want to say to the people before we go today?
Yo, people. Nothing. I got nothing to say to y'all.
All right.
Y'all did good.